Good morning, everybody. It's Chris here at Bluerhino Safaris. Um, I did a flower video last year in July when I released the tour, and I thought I would just follow up with one. We are about a month out from doing the flower tour, and I have one spot left in the trip. And I thought, let me just quickly catch up with a little bit to give you a heads up on this. The flowers every year is much dependent on the weather. For one, is it hot or cold? If it's too cold, the flower stays closed. If it's too warm, the flowers wilt. So the weather plays a role in that on the one side. Your timing plays a role. If you live early in the season, the flowers might be different than later in the season. So that plays a role. But the one thing we don't have a lot of control over is the rainfall. And if it's a dry year, then the flowers generally don't display well because it's just too dry, and the little bulbs decide they're not going to waste the energy, they're going to hang around for the next season. Now, with all the rain that they had in the Cape recently, and I thought so with the guys who struggled in the floods, but for the flower season, it means that there's a box check that nobody can check except for Mother Nature. And if she gives a lot of rain, and we have a good rainy season, and it falls round about now, like it did, then that means, generally speaking, the little bulbs will be happy to do their thing because there's enough nutrition around them to set up a good display. So if you were trying to predict the flower season, this is one of the things that you would be looking at, is how good is the rainy season for the Western Cape. In the years that they struggled with droughts, the flowers are never really great because the nutrition and the moisture in the land is just not enough. But this year, a lot of rain, so it all looks good. So let me quickly go through it. Everything is still the same. Nothing has changed on the trip itself. But it's a 6-night tour, and you don't have to do it with the passes. You can just do the flowers and end up at Cedarburg. It's not necessary to do any weird stuff. There's a little bit of sand in the middle of the road when we go down to the Namaqualand coastal section at this place, this campsite. A little bit of sand. No issue. If you're in a 4x2, you can do it, no problem. You need a bit of ground clearance, but if you're towing something, it must be a 4x4. There are stretches that are quite sandy, and in a 4x2, you can do it, but no towing with a 4x2. If you have a 4x4, you can tow, no problem. It's flat, it's fairly straightforward. I've had many vehicles through there before, so it's not new to me. So just quickly, the itinerary again, we meet at Springbok. Springbok is sort of the northern spot that we enter this whole experience, and already we'll start seeing flowers. Even in the Richtersveld, you'll see flowers. I don't know how far the recent rains went to the northern side. I'm not too sure about that, but we start at Springbok. It's always a nice area to go through. We go through the Namaqualand National Park, which has the Skilpad area that we go through. That's always pretty, and it's a nice relaxed day. Then down to the coastal campsite that you saw on the previous picture, and then I changed my route. I'm not going all the way down on the coastal section, but rather I'm going back a little bit inland, and we head back towards the N7, I think it is, and down to get to Van Reinsdorp and Nieuwoudtville. Nieuwoudtville always has a good display. Last year also when we got there, it was really great. It was good to be there, and that's always the hot spot around that area. So it's one of those places that you have to visit. So when we are up at Nieuwoudtville, we sleep on a campsite which is on a farm, and this campsite they do meals there. A very nice farm meal. Last time we had Springbok boat and sweet potatoes and all kinds of boerekos. So there's a chance for you for a nice boerekos meal for that night. Then when we finished in the Nieuwoudtville area, we take the back roads and go to more of the reliable spots, Bido Valley, the places that you would normally expect some flowers. We'll visit that, back down to Klein Willem, down to Elandsbaai area. And then we start the coastal section. So Elandsbaai, we'll take the night and sleep at Elandsbaai. And then we will do this little coastal section down to Eiserfontein where we sleep for the night. And then from Eiserfontein we head up to Klein Willem, up to the Ceres area. Cedarburg area. And we camp in the Cedarburg for the night. So while we're at Elandsbaai and Eiserfontein, we will explore the coastal region. As I said a few years ago, the Navy opened a section of their territory so that people could go in there and have a look around. You're also at the West Coast National Park, so if you want to go in for the day, it's not included in the cost, but if you want to go in there for the afternoon or for the next morning, we will create a bit of time to do that. It's all going to depend on where the flowers are. It changes every year. There's no set recipe, but we definitely will be in the prime flower areas. Once we're done at Eiserfontein, going up to the Cederberg, it's not that the flowers are finished, but we will be exploring a bit more, and this is where we do a bit of roosterkoek maybe for lunch, and maybe an olive tasting at Riebeekasteel or something like that. So we ultimately end up in the Cederberg mountains at the Cederberg winery, and you can go for a wine tasting if you want to. I'm there for 2 nights. The last night of the flower tour is there, and then the next night I'm there again because I start my passes and parks tour the next day. So you can join me for the 2 nights and just relax a little bit. If you haven't been on a trip with me recently, my focus has moved a lot more to overlanding and safari stuff. The 4x4 thing is just sometimes necessary because of the road conditions, like on this trip. There's no 4x4ing involved at all. It is only that little sand stretch on the coastal section that we have to do. Otherwise, we have to turn back and drive all the way around. And because we have 4x4s and I'm a 4x4 instructor and I know about sand driving, we do the sand, but because it's easy, it's not a problem. So my tours have become much more relaxed, generally speaking. I'm trying to spend a little bit more time at nice places, try to get into camp at a decent time so that people can switch off, go for a walk, go for a run, just relax a little bit and enjoy the campsites. So the idea is to have a holiday and not make it hard work for everybody. So yes, that's it. It's going to be a lovely tour. I'm happy about the rain that fell recently. To me, that just sets us up. And now it's a few more things that needs to play their role. Temperature and when it gets warm, those type of things. And once those things are in place, then the flower season will be a really good one. So expect a good flower season this year. If you want to join me, you're welcome to. There's space for one more vehicle, so you're going to have to I can squeeze a second one in if I have to, but on my original plan there's space for one more vehicle. So if you want to bring a friend, you can do that. You can twist my arm for that second spot. Otherwise, it's going to be great. Make sure to send me an email. I'm here for this week. Next week, I'm off to Botswana and Central Kalahari. So if you want to make a booking, please do it in this week. I can still help you. Once we get to the weekend, I'm going to be out of reach. Have a great day. Have a great South African Winter's Day. And I'll see you soon. Stay safe. Cheers.